Your information station, WTIM.
Good morning. You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and our morning show brought to you by People's Bank and Trust and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining me in this segment is Alexandra Everly. Alexandra is the Lead and Vector Health Inspector with the CCHD, and Joe Torres is the Director of Environmental Health with the CCHD as well. Good morning to you both. How are we?
Good morning. Very well. How are you?
Good. And it's good to see you guys back here in studio today. We're going to start with some new changes to the IDPH and requirements for water testing. It seems as if you've had to kind of maneuver through quite a few changes from the IDPH in the last couple of years and implement some of their new standards. There's another one that we need to inform folks about. What can you tell me there on that front?
So water testing for private water. So those who want to test for their water in their wells, IDPH, the laboratories over there have changed their criteria of what you can submit. So now they will only take initial testing for a new well that has been installed. And then the other reasons they would take a sample would be for an illness associated with private water, or a outbreak associated with private water. All other tests, those who want to do like annual testing for their wells need to go through a commercial lab to get that done. For both ways, you know, we previously only tested for E. coli and coliform. So they would still, if they wanted to test for like heavy metals, they would still have to reach out to a commercial lab. We're currently kind of trying to find a lab to work with to see if we can kind of help the community out. But, you know, this was kind of thrown on us last minute. So we're trying to work through it. But yeah, so if you do have a new well, you know, that's a no charge fee for the water test kit. You just come in and tell us you have a new well. We'll verify that it was installed. They'll get the water test kit. Anybody else will have to go through a commercial lab.
Okay. And so basically, as you had mentioned, new wells, unless there's an illness or outbreak from it, if you have an existing water supply, that now needs to go privatized. I was going to ask you, and you answered my question about somebody private or somebody commercially that was able to do it in the area. So hopefully maybe next month we'll have something that we can find.
So, yeah.
What, in your estimation right now, why make that change?
I think it's from what they told us, it was the number of submissions that they were getting was not, I don't think it was financially working out for them. So I don't know.
It's the state and they decide
things change and we just have to, unfortunately, we just have to go with the flow. And
because my thought with that is if I'm actually interested in my water supply being as healthy as possible, and obviously you mentioned no heavy metals in that testing, but why not have that open? But
yeah,
I digress. And, it is the state and the budget is tight.
Yeah.
So anything else when it comes to these new water testing requirements and changes?
No, I mean, that was the major change for it. So we'll keep you posted. We'll post stuff on our website, Facebook, you know, once we've figured out something, maybe if there's a lab we can work with.
It's quick turnaround time right now for us.
Yeah, it's you know, hopefully I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks we can have it.
And something that's financially, you know, not going to break anybody's bank or
exactly because it's important for them to test their wells. People should be testing their wells yearly, you know, to test for, because you don't know what could happen to the well.
I was going to say, as somebody that grew up on a well and random animals get into wells, or, you know, all of a sudden things start to taste a little funky and a frog's at the bottom. You know, there are reasons why you should test yearly.
Yes.
Moving now to Vector Health. Recently you've gone through the gauntlet and now you're ready to tell us about Vector Health. As somebody that doesn't know a lot about it and the inspections in that regard, what can you tell me just about it?
Yeah, so I am the lead and vector inspector, and I deal with doing tick drags, mosquito testing for the West Nile virus. We also, from time to time, do a collection of bats. And this year we are not collecting, but in years past there have been collection of birds.
For the ticks this season, it almost seems like there's more this year. As somebody that goes outside, I could be making this up, but it seems like ticks are out in droves right now. Do these kind of fluctuate a little bit and come and go?
Yes. So right now we're approaching the warmest months, and they are still going to be present, but this is typically where you see nymphs start to come out versus the adults. So you can, I believe, get on IDPH's website, and they have a great resource of kind of to tell you when the adults are active versus the nymphs, which are the babies. And their adult life cycles and things like that, which is a great resource. But we do active tick surveillance. I'm actually doing one today, so if you see me out and about, I'll be suited up, and I drag a cloth to collect ticks. We've done 2 previous tick collections this season. Our first collection, we were able to collect 9, and my most recent, we collected 4 ticks to send off to IDPH for testing.
Testing wise, is it for Lyme disease? Is it for what kind does that look like?
It's for a very like a slew. So IDPH does all of that, and it takes a while for them, depending on how many submissions they get from other counties. But as soon as we get that, we report that back. So
if I do see you around town dragging a cloth, I at least will know what is going on with that. But when it comes to mosquitoes, anything that you're looking out for this year?
West Nile virus. So my schedule on Fridays is I go out and I set the traps. They set over the weekend with like a fan, basically, that traps them inside. And then the following Monday, I go out and I collect those traps, and I spend all day Tuesday in the lab testing those mosquitoes, running them through our machine to test for that.
Sounds like kind of fun, really. So a lot of your week or a lot of your time is spent collecting these things, then bringing them back, and then actually finding out if sounds like fun to me. So interesting. Ticks, no birds this year.
No birds.
And last year, if I remember, there was birds that we were
Yes.
looking out for.
IDPH was a little, they wanted, because of the bird flu, they want to kind of minimize contact. So
Okay.
as of this year, we're not doing it. Next year, we may do it. It's just, once
Right
again,
now
it's a
off the
state. So.
table. And we just got to go with their flow a little bit there. Anything else when it comes to vector?
No, since we're not doing collection of birds, I would also refer people to IDPH's website. It goes into detail about how to safely collect birds if they do come into contact with them.
Okay. Well, it's interesting how you go from one year to then the next, and we're not doing it.
Yeah.
So just notice that, I guess, from what we're speaking about here. So temporary events. You brought this up to me. We're getting into the summer months full of events right now. We want to preach some staying safer this summer when it comes to your health and your family's health when you bring these folks out to the events. Where can you take me with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're seeing a lot of temporary events roll in. You can locate our temporary event application on our website, and this is for any vendor that is planning on serving food to the public. We just ask that any vendor submits their temporary event application 48 hours in advance to avoid a $30 late fee charge. We take that application and we review it. If any vendors have any questions about the application or the requirements for our temporary events, they can always call our office or email us, and we'd be more than happy to help them.
Vendor-wise, there's so many of them. How long does a temporary event permit last? Is it just for said event, or is it for the next 2 weeks? How does that kind of look?
Yeah, so in Christian County, our temporary event permits are valid for 14 days in the same location.
Well, that was a very lucky guess. All right.
Yeah.
So, say I'm planning on going to the Summerfest, and then maybe I'm going to the Christian County Fair. I don't know when those dates exactly are, but say they line up. I don't have to necessarily get another for moving to the different events, because the one permit would cover me for the 2 weeks.
At the same location.
At the same location.
If I wanted to host a temporary event at the health department I'm valid for 2 weeks. But if I wanted to do one at the health department and then go to the park, I would have to apply for 2 different permits.
I need another. Okay.
And our temporary permits, there are limited, so it's 1 per month, not to exceed 12 in a calendar year. So
1 per month, not to exceed 12 in a calendar year.
because they are temporary events. Once you get past 12, then it becomes more of like a business where you may have to think about doing a mobile unit or doing a brick and mortar store or something like that.
Okay, so that makes sense to me. There's obviously other permits available. It's just we don't want you abusing the fact that it's a temporary event. And I got another temporary event. I got another, and all of a sudden your whole summer's full.
Correct. And temporary events, they tend to have a higher risk of foodborne illness because of the type of event. It's not, some people just have stands out there, so we want to make sure that they're safe, and people who are going out to these events when they're consuming food, that they're not going to go home and get sick from
funnel cake,
fun bugs.
Yeah. So temporary event wise, anything else that we would like to share?
No, I mean, they're coming up, they're popping up. So the weather is going to start to get nice and warm, and people are done with the snow and the rain, I think.
Yeah, I'm right there. So let me make sure that I've got everything right on my end. 48 hours in advance, unless you want that $30 fee tacked on top. It'll last 14 days, but that's at the same location. You get 1 per month, 12 in a calendar year.
Correct.
Perfect. That is a look at temporary event permits through the CCHD. We're joined by Alexandra Everly, Lead and Vector Inspector, and Joe Torres, Environmental Health Director, here on the morning show. We'll come back around with them and talk more about the CCHD when we return. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.
WTIM. WTIM.
You're listening to WTIM, your information station, and our morning show. It's brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville and People's Bank and Trust. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining me in this segment is Joe Torres, Director of Environmental Health, and Alexandra Everly, Lead and Vector Inspector with the Christian County Health Department. We talked new requirements for water testing, vector and that side of the deal, and then temporary events and permits that are required. You've also got an annual health fair that's coming up at the end of July. I don't care who tells me, but who would like to tell me about it?
So it will be held on July 30th, which is a Wednesday from 8 to 4 at the Christian County Health Department. We are still kind of in the works of getting local health care providers and informational booths kind of aligned up, but we're going to have, all of our staff will be there to showcase what we do at the health department. We have our whole environmental team. We'll have the nursing team. The nursing staff will be doing like vaccines and stuff because school will be starting. So we want to get them kind of, get everybody done. That way they're not doing stuff last minute. And then we were going to have Chelsea, who's the interim director of nursing, come, but she couldn't make it today to kind of talk more about it. But, it'll be, we're planning on doing this yearly. This will be an annual thing that we're trying to do. The community, it seems like they want more information. There's so much information that we have, and this public outreach is something good that we can do for the community.
So if I'm picking up, this would be the first of which we're hosting
This will be the first. Yeah. So we kind of did one when we first moved over to the health department. We did like a grand opening kind of. So it was very similar to that. We'll probably have a little bit more this year. We do have 2 mobile vendors lined up, Dizzy's Smokehouse, and that's Nathan Jocelyn, and then Gloria Hernandez, who runs Tacos Tolchpico. Those vendors will be there to offer food.
Okay. And the annual health fair, July 30th. I believe you said that was a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday from 8 until 4.
From 8 until 4. And then you can meet also the different health inspectors and get to have a feel for maybe somebody out in a white suit that's dragging a cloth behind them. And then maybe that it's Alexandra or Lexi. Annual health fair wise, July 30th, that Wednesday. Anything else when it comes to the Christian County Health Department? Things that we want to highlight as we get into those summer months?
No, I mean, just stay safe. And, if you have, vector, if you have an area where that needs to be treated with larvicide, reach out to us because we do have larvicide. We are both, Lexi and I are both certified to drop larvicide. So just contact us and we'll figure something out for you.
Help me out with that larvicide. What are you
kill mosquitoes? So we're looking for, if you have some places have a lot of like empty tires that they have on their property that holds a lot of water, gutters, pots, anything that you see is collecting water that may need to be treated. Just give us a call.
That's a good reminder too, if you've got a bird bath, make sure we're getting the water dumped out of it. If you've got gutters, which we all probably should have, make sure we're cleaning those and making sure those are working as intended. And
the larvicide we use is it's safe for the environment. It's safe for animals, so it won't hurt. And
you have professionals that are actually applying this larvicide, which is probably beneficial too, rather than Grayson going out and spraying it like some weed killer. So, I can appreciate that. So we've talked the IDPH's new requirements for water testing, the vector side of things, temporary event and permits required for them, and the annual health fair coming up on July 30th. That's a Wednesday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Alexandra and to Joe, thank you very much for joining me here on the morning show. You're listening to WTIM, your information station. We're brought to you by People's Bank and Trust and Landmark of Taylorville.
WTIM.